have to recognize when attachment arises, recognize when aversion arises. Because what a problem is, what's labeled a problem is when attachment doesn't get what it wants, because attachment is the default mode. It's just there at the level of the deepest assumption, and the assumption of attachment is that I, the fantasy I, must get what I want every second. I mean, it sounds so brutal to talk this way, but that's exactly, So to hear that one, to hear that the bottom line, when we can begin to understand attachment and aversion, these two of the three poisons, when we begin to understand attachment and aversion, which in modern psychology don't even get a mention. You go to your psychiatrist and say, oh, I've got a bit of aversion today. I've got a bit frustrated, which is mild anger. She'll tell you to shut up and go home and don't come back until you want to kill your husband or yourself. So that's part of our problem too. Because we only notice what's in our mind, Buddhists, Tibetans like to point here, we only notice what's going on in our mind, our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, our consciousness, when the body feels it. And that's the tip of the iceberg. That's when I always just use a simple example, like you've never heard of mechanics, you've never been to the mechanic with your car's perfect, and you never notice the problems, and one day at 120 miles an hour on the motorway, suddenly the wheels are falling off. Oh, what'll I do? Well, that's what happens. The commonest question we have, the commonest question that comes about anger in teachings, when people ask questions, when I'm in the middle of an argument with my husband, what'll I do? That's like asking, what'll you do when your wheels are falling off? Because we don't notice the aversion. We don't notice the jealousy or the attachment or the depression until it's too late. That's a literal fact. And when we can begin to understand, and that's the Buddha's view, that our mind is not the body. The body is just this gross symptom of what's in the mind at a very gross level. Once we can learn, that's why we have to have shamatha, that's why we need single point of concentration, even to some degree, then we can start to notice the thoughts before they become emotions. All emotions are just the manifestation of thoughts, that's all. And the thoughts are at a subtler level, and they're going continuously. Even in modern psychology, they say we've got 1,000 thoughts a second. Buddha would agree. But we don't pay attention until we're shouting, or you don't pay attention until you're inert in bed from profound depression. You only notice because now your body is telling you that something's going on. That's our biggest problem in the West. That's our grossest problem. We don't pay attention until it's too late.